Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a collaboration with Kelsee Briana Bay. I don't think she needs any introduction, but just in case you guys are living under a rock and have not seen her yet, or better yet, heard me talk about her, she is my best friend. And even if she wasn't, I know that you guys would absolutely love her because if you like me, you're going to adore her. She is funny, she is beautiful, she is extremely talented, and she has the eye space of what I would imagine a makeup god. She is absolutely just perfection if you ask me. I might be a little bit biased, but I tell no lies. Then we have the amazingly talented and beautiful Jackeline from Hey, It's Jackeline. Now she is somebody I recently found and I have fallen absolutely in love with, and I could just listen to her and her reviews all day long. I feel like I have been the one under a rock because I am just, I'm head over heels for her channel. She loves high-end makeup. Hello, me too. And she does such great reviews and I could listen to them all day. So if you haven't checked her out, make sure you do so, as well as Kelsee, especially if you want to see this collaboration, which is going to be our curated brush collection. So what we would come out with per se if we were to make our own brush collections. Now, this is extremely intimidating to me, mainly because my love for brushes is very extensive. I don't feel like there's brushes in my collection that I could just like give away. It just wouldn't happen. Now, there's some brushes that I don't use as often, but I still love them. And with that being said, I do want to mention that just because I'm not mentioning a brush that you've seen me use a million times, it doesn't mean that I don't like that brush or I don't like that company. There's a lot of brushes that I'm going to be showing you guys that the actual style of the brush I have in different brands. So like say a brush from Wayne Goss, I have in Sonia G, I'll have it in Refer, I'll have it in Bristles Beauty, I might have it in Delium Tools, a lot of different things, but I'm just going off of the shapes and what I would do if I were to create a brush line. I think that my video might end up being a little long, just a little long, because I'm not somebody who is like, oh, I just need 4 brushes for my eyes. I could tell you which 4 brushes you might want for your eyes or that you would necessarily need. Like if I was just going to say these 4 brushes, all you need, and then kind of collect from there, I could totally do that. But this is what I would come out with, and I feel like I would not be able to do just 4 brushes and 4 brushes like face and eyes. I'm just going to share with you guys what I feel like I have to have, my essentials, and what I would come up with if I were to create my own line. And I'm going to break it up into the face category as well as the eye category. For my brush collection, I would definitely have natural hair brushes. Some of them would be goat hair, some of them would be something softer like sable or squirrel, but that's just my personal opinion. I do like synthetic brushes as well. It's funny because the first brush I'm going to show you is a synthetic hair brush, and there's definitely specific ones that I feel like are better if they are synthetic or if they are a nice mixture of both natural and synthetic. So I'm going to go through each of these, and just remember, like I mentioned, that a lot of these brushes I do have in different brands, and so same style, different brands, but I picked out the ones, the majority of them, that are just clean. This first one, though, I could not. It's from BK Beauty, and it's actually a synthetic hair brush. If you're going to pick out a synthetic brush line to go with, BK Beauty is where it is at. They are absolutely phenomenal. I love all of their brushes, but this one specifically, I would choose for my powder. Like, so it'll just set all over, not underneath my eyes, because I have another brush for that. And yeah, it's a little big. But I like the shape of this. I like that it isn't too domed. So you can see this way, it's fluffy, but it's not overly large, but it's not too small either. So it's not going to take me too long to set everything. And I just like that I can get all around my entire face with it. With this, I actually like this being a synthetic fiber. I wouldn't mind it if it was, and I don't think I would want goat. Honestly, I don't think I would want goat. I think that I would want something just a little bit softer, or I could do synthetic for this type of brush. This is something that I use all the time. That is why it is so dirty right now, because yeah, it's the perfect brush. and I wasn't willing to let it dry because for me, synthetic brushes take a little bit longer to dry. All right, let's go for the under eye. And this is one of those that I said I would want to be a little bit softer. Basically just this brush. This is from Wayne Goss, and it is the Artist Medium, I believe, a medium artist brush. It is perfect for going right underneath the eyes. I need something that I can blur out my pores, I can set underneath my eyes, and just do anything in this area. You can also use this for highlight. You could even use it for blush application if you wanted to, or contour. But for me, this is right here. I can get right in the corner. This is an area that I can get creasy or not set very well if I don't use a specific style brush. And this is one that I always go in right here with a little bit of powder and go out, and then I can blur out my pores. I can set my nose. Sometimes I like to use different powders for different areas. You guys know how I love my powders. So this is the one that I would use for under eye setting. Now let's move on to highlighting. It went on the floor. We're just gonna leave it there. I have to have 2 different brushes for highlighting. And yes, I know that seems excessive. I could technically go with 1, but like I said, I like to have my options, and I cannot decide between these 2 brushes. One is synthetic and one is natural hair. This one right here, this is what I used today. This is the Linda Hallberg 306. The reason why I love this one, the shape of it, it is perfect to get pinpoint application of your highlight, and it picks up a lot of the highlighters I used to think that I didn't like. There's several highlights that I was like, this doesn't work, it doesn't pick up, it doesn't go on my skin. And then I got this brush and realized I was wrong. So this synthetic brush is so nice because of the shape and its density. It's the perfect density to blend, but also to pack it on, actually grab the product. But if I want something like a cream highlight, I like to use a brush, and this is the one. This is the Mini Cheek from Sonia G. It's so soft. It has just like a tiny bit of density without it being, so it's not flimsy, but it's not so stiff that it's going to move your foundation underneath. This is just everything. This also will set underneath your eyes, but I really like the other shape personally for my curated collection for the under eye. This is what I absolutely have to have for highlighting if I want something softer. So say I wanted this exact same highlight, but I want it to be a little softer and a little bit more natural, like that glow from within. This is the brush I would grab, as well as with the cream products. All right, let's move on to bronzer. This one was hard because I'm trying to think, you know, which one works for all of my bronzers, because do I need 10 different bronzer brushes? No. Do I need 2 highlighter brushes? Yes. So I was trying to think, which one do I know works with my thicker formulas, like that gelée type of formula. It works with my powder formulas. And that is going to be this style right here. And this is also from Sonia G. It's the Master Face. This has the perfect shape so that I can just blend. It's not too big, not too small. So if I wanted a concentrated application, I could definitely get that. But then I can also just like really buff out. This will grab up a gelée type of formula, and it also works really well with a powder. So this style is what I would choose for my collection for a bronzer brush. But again, it's just one of those that has so many different purposes. I'm just trying to tell you which ones I would use for what. Let's go on to blush. Now this again was another one that I was like, there's so many different ones that I love. I like a little bit of a smaller one sometimes. I like a paddle style. Sometimes I like those little angled ones. But I was thinking, okay, for my collection, what would I use that again would do just everything? And for me, the Designer Pro from Sonia G. I like this because it is one of those that's flat, so I can use that stamping motion. It has like this little pinched area, but it's still, I can go like this as well. I used this brush today. I used the Master Face for my bronzer today, and the powder brush to set my face. I pretty much used all my face brushes, and I try to keep all my eye brushes clean. But this one is just perfect for application of blush, in my opinion. It's going to work for somebody with a small face, a larger face. It's going to work for lighter application. It's gonna work for picking up more product. It's just absolutely perfect. Now there is a brush that I wanted to add in that I just feel like sometimes I need it. Sometimes I want to have a little bit sharper of, not a contour, but I guess it still is kind of a contour because I'm using a bronzer and making it a little bit more precise, or for blush or for powder. It's just that I like the tip. I want to have something that is just a little bit more particular in my collection. So this style brush right here, I have one from Esam, I have one from Wayne Goss, I have one from Refer, I have all different styles. For me, it just has to be a natural hairbrush, but not too stiff. So like the Esam one, I absolutely love, and I love it for specifically bronzer, but the brush in my collection, I would want to be a little bit softer, not too soft, but just a little bit softer. I want it to be able to pick up product, whether it be a gelée or a powder, and I want it to have this taper. So fluffy, but a taper to it, because I like to have that when I want just really specific application of specific products. So for me, this is a brush style that I have to have. Now, what do I do at the end of my makeup every single day? My go-to brush used to be the La Mer powder brush. That was like my ride or die for such a long time. This one though, this is it. I love that this one is flat. This is going to be a multi-purpose one as well. I love this to put on powder foundation. So if I don't want to wear an actual like liquid foundation and I want to just buff something onto my skin, this one works so well because it is literally flat at the top of it and it buffs into the skin so beautifully. I used this today with my 01 IRISEE SISLEY powder, and let me tell you, I just about had a mini makeup heart attack because the packaging on that powder changed and I was like, please don't tell me you changed the formula, just like La Mer and all these other brands are changing their powder formulas, but luckily I don't think that they have. Anywho, that was a whole tangent. This is what I would choose for a style that I would want in my collection for buffing. Oh, it's so soft too. Oh, it's so soft. That's it for the face. Now you're gonna notice that there's no foundation brush, and that's because for me personally, I don't feel like I use a foundation brush enough to justify putting one in my own collection. Would I make one? Because let's say I had my own collection in real life. Would I eventually make one? Yes. Would it be more so for you guys? Yes. There are definitely foundation brushes that I really like, and every once in a while there's some foundations, or just like if I'm in a hurry, I am not trying to use my sponge. For whatever reason, I can just buff on a foundation with a brush a little quicker. But for me, it's not something that I use enough to want it to be in my initial curated collection. So that is why it is left out. All right, let's go on and move on to the eyes. I have so many brushes here. Okay, with eyes, I like so many different formulas of shadows. I like so many different applications. It's just, there's a lot here. So I think that I would have to make two different ones, like one's like the necessities collection and then the wants collection. But for me, all of these are necessities. I'm just gonna kind of go in order. The very first thing is priming my eyes. I have to use a brush. I'm not somebody who likes to go in with my finger. I also like to take my primer all the way up underneath my brow arch, and I use a tinted primer because I have a lot of veining on my eyes. I like to clean up my brow, and so for me, there is one brush that you guys see me all the time. It used to be the MAC 242, which is a dual fiber brush. It is synthetic and natural hair. And then Refer made one literally because I asked them to. And so this is the Refer 21. Yes, they are in the process of making more of these. They released it finally and then they sold out, but they are working on getting some more. So I'll let you guys know when that does happen. So this is a brush that I always use for cleaning up right underneath my brow arch. It is a brush that I like to use to highlight my brow arch. It's also a brush that I like to use to apply metallics, the inner corner or anything like that. So this is something that there's no way I could have a brush line without this in it. So this, I usually use like 3 of these in a day. I'm not even kidding. I do. I can't say anything. I just do. After I get my primer on, like underneath my brow, I go in with a totally new brush. I know, overkill. You could absolutely just continue to use that brush, but I don't. I never do. I like to go in with this one. I would choose to have this brush be synthetic because I'm using it for either a concealer on my eyes or the primer that I'm using, which both of them are priming my eyes. It's just 2 different type of products, both of them being liquid. So I would want it to be a synthetic brush. And this is the Delium 938 blending concealer. So yeah, you could use it for concealer. I just don't like using brushes for concealer. It's like a every once in a while type of thing, but this is what I used, and it really gets on the inner corner. I can blend everything out, and also I love this brush for doing like any kind of spot correcting. Like sometimes when I have a little bit more of my sun damage coming through, luckily it's starting to go away again. So I'm not having to use my corrector as much, but I can tap that in here. I can tap corrector right on my inner corner. It's just the perfect brush for those applications. Next up, what do? I set underneath my brow arch. This is like my routine we're going through here for getting the eye prepped. And I love to use a bone color shadow, and I don't like to waste my time. So it's not something that I like to go in with my P21. It's not P21, it's the Rephr 21 now. If I want to go in with something bigger, this is the MAC 252, and I like it because it's big enough to I just literally just shoot, 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 and we're all set just right underneath the brow arch. I also like to take it and go right here just so that I don't have anything grabbing. I don't like to set my eye, so I it stops right underneath the brow. None of the crease, the transition, or the lid is set. But this is what I use to just go right underneath it. It's still something I just feel like I have to have. I also love to use this if I'm gonna take one shade, like say I'm not gonna put on eyeshadow that day, but technically I would be. What am I talking about? That bone color shade, if I'm not going to be going in with a bunch of other shades, I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna go all over the lid. Now that we're out of my eye prep process, let me tell you what I did today. Today I'm wearing one shade and the bone color shade on my brow arch. I take one brush when I'm doing something like this. You can use a fluffy brush, you can use whatever you want. However, for me, I like to have this style of brush. This is from Sonia G, and it is the Jumbo Blender. It's kind of like a little finger almost, a fluffy finger. I can pack all over the lid, but then it is soft enough that it actually blends in the crease as well. And I just love that. Like I can literally go and just blend in my crease. I know you guys are probably like, how are you doing your eyeshadow with your hand like this? I was able to move my hands a little bit better until they decided to swell up this size. But I can actually get all in here and just blend. I have a tendency to move my head a little bit, but I can move my actual arm as well. Anywho, this is what I would have to have for those just the days where I just want to throw something on really quickly. I want to pack it on the lid. I want to blend it out, and I don't want to pick up a bunch of different brushes. If I really wanted to, I could also go underneath the eyes. But again, I'm one of those people that just love to have some options. And for that option, I'm going to show you 2. And the reason why I want 2 is because sometimes I want it really close to the lower lash line. Sometimes I want it really blended out and smoked out on the lower lash line. So 2 different brushes. This one right here, this is a Wayne Goss number 20. Again, I have this in so many different brands, but what I am looking for is goat hair and it to be this size. It's like the size of my, not even my pinky nail. It is a tiny little one. So I can take shadow and go right underneath my lashes because it's not too big or too fluffy, and it's also not too dense. And if I wanted to, I could get a little bit of definition. I could pack just a little bit of color on this outer corner. It's absolute perfection, absolute must-have for me. And then also, This is going to come as no surprise. The refer number 3. Personally, I don't feel like I need to have a liner brush, meaning the teeny tiny liner like the, like the MAC 210, something like that. I don't have to have that. So that's something that I would add in my line later on down the line, but not right away. I would want something like this because I can get right up against the lashes. I can also take this on its side, and I love to use this to put just a little bit of shadow right at my lash base. It's just beautiful. So I have to have this. This is my style of pencil brush. It's not too big and it's not too small or too like stiff. It has the perfect amount of little flex to it, so it's soft and I can just blend out really beautifully with it. For an angled liner brush though, because I feel like that's a necessity, I have to have something for a gel winged liner, and that would be this one here. Again, several different ones that I could choose, but I think that this one is my favorite. I don't know, I go back and forth. It just depends on my mood and what style of liner I'm doing and this and that. Right now, honestly, I'm not doing a whole lot of gel winged liner, but I have to have it in my collection. And this is from NARS. It's the number 47. It's the perfect size, like it's not too big. It's also not too flimsy. I need something that's going to be a little bit stiffer, not too stiff, and that will just go right here and perfectly wing something out. And this one is it for me. And on top of that, it's thin enough that if I wanted to go all the way to the inner corner, I can with this style. So that's why I don't think that I need to have something along the lines of a 210 right away. I think I can do it with this one. Sticking with that liner type of aspect, I've recently spoke about this. I'm obsessed with this brush. I have several of these now, and I'm so glad that I do because this is an absolute essential. This is something that I didn't even know that I was missing. It is the P06RF from Bristles Beauty. This is the only one that I have like this in my collection. The closest thing I think is the flat definer from Sonia G, which is not the same. Both of these brushes are not the same. And then the MAC 228. This one though is just a little bit more square. It's slightly rounded at the tip, but a little bit more square. It's a little bit thinner, and I get the perfect angled shadow with this. I love it, and it's great for the inner corner. It's great for really tight lining right up against the lashes. It's great for precision if you want just a little bit of that blingy little highlight only right there, or blend it out, whatever you want. But this is definitely something I need. I need this. This is an absolutely must have. Let's get into the blending brushes. You guys see me use this one all the time. It's the Zoeva 227. This is actually a dual fiber brush. It is natural and synthetic. This one I don't really mind. I don't care if it is a dual fiber like this or if it's all goat hair. I care about the shape. The shape for this, for me and my eye shape, is just so good because it's not too big to where it's going to just take it everywhere, but it's not so small that it's going to take too long for me to blend something out. This replaced the MAC 217 for me, and I haven't gone back. This is just, I love this brush. Then I need to have something kind of like the Wayne Goss number 20 that I mentioned for the lower lash line or even the crease or outer corner, but I want it to be a little bit longer and a little bit more like blendy, I guess. Have a little bit more give to it. This one is so good for somebody who has hooded eyes or needs a little bit more precision. This is just something that I have to have for my crease area. I can use it underneath my eyes, but I need it to go right in that crease area. Now, this one. Again, Bristles Beauty. I love this brush. The refer number 1 is similar to it. The MAC 217 is kind of similar, but this is like the MAC 217 perfected, in my opinion. It's tapered, but it's not itchy scratchy. I have found that my 217s are itchy scratchy, and it's not something that I ever noticed until I really started getting into other brushes. But anywho, I just want something that is going to pick up the product and blend it out, but not be itchy scratchy and have this taper to it so I can get really, really tightly into the crease if I want to. I can take it on its side and blend if I want to. It's just a multifunctional brush, and I can even take product, put it all on the side of the brush, and tap it all over the lid. 3 more brushes, you guys. I'm almost done. I told you I have to have a lot. I have to have a lot. I went back and forth as to whether or not I needed a brush like this, but I feel like I do, because there's so many times where I can go in, I feel like, I need something to just blend out the edges or just make things softer. And that's this. This is, what number? It's not a number, it's a name, a Detail Pro. I like this because it is so big, and if I'm trying to erase or just soften something, anything like this, natural hair preferred. I can use synthetic, but I prefer natural hair. I like to take this and literally just kind of go all around, and it just blends out the edges. Now I can use something that's going to be a little bit more precise if I need precise blending, but like say for today's look and I was using something just a little bit darker, this going around everything, I can even take it underneath. It blends it without over blending it because it's not too stiff. It's just the perfect stiffness to blend and soften without like moving it around too much or taking shades and blending them too much like together. This is also really great for right here. I've used this several times with my by Terry powder and just going right on this area to buff away my pores. And then I gotta have 2 packing brushes. I was thinking about something along the lines of the MAC 239, but for me, it's a little square to be perfect. So I like something like this that has that little bit of roundness to it. And again, it's tapered. So I feel like it goes onto the lid a little bit better. So if I wanted to take a matte shadow and pack it on the lid, say if I'm doing like 3 different colors on the lid and I wanted to take it and use mattes, the 239 really does a great job of packing, but this one is a much better shape. It is going to be a little bit more precise, and it gets to the inner corner a lot easier and on the outer corner, whereas I feel like while I love the MAC 239 shape and other brushes that are similar to it, and I definitely use them in my line, I would want it to be more along this line. Last brush. Sometimes I'm kind of in between. So I don't want, let me see. I don't want this one because it's a little too thin and it's going to apply the shadow a little thinner. And I don't want the last one I talked about because it's going to not be right for the specific type of metallic I want. So I like this one. This is the Esom W21. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's going to pick up more than what the Refer 21 does, but it's like it packs it on. I don't know how to, this is a really hard one to describe. It's really great at picking up those a little bit more pressed, harder panned kind of like metallic shades. Sometimes they get that hard pan or they're just pressed harder to begin with. This will grab it easier because it's thicker and the type of fibers it has. It will just grab at those so much better, and it will apply it to the eye and still put it on very smoothly and precisely. So yeah, I need 3 different packing brushes. Maybe more. I like brushes. What can I say? But that's it, you guys. I say it like, oh yeah, no big deal. Like 20 brushes here. That's what I would come out with. Like I wouldn't start off with like, oh, this is just like my 5-step brush. I would just come out with the whole line all at once. I have a feeling it would take me a really long time to perfect. So don't expect this to happen anytime soon. But yes, this is just what I am thinking of right now in this moment, what I would do if I was able to create my own curated set, the sizes, the shapes, and whatnot that I would want for my type of application and what I prefer. I hope you guys enjoyed finding out, you know, what I like and why I like them and what I would choose. I'm very curious to see what Jackeline and Kelsee have to say. Like, especially with Kelsee, I'm like, I really wonder the direction she's gonna go in. Is she gonna be like, I gotta have all these brushes too? Or is she gonna be more minimalistic? And yeah, Jackeline, I don't know. I'm very curious to see. I'm very curious to see. I hope you guys watch them. I encourage you guys to. I will have them both linked down below. And yeah, I'll be watching because I want to see. I love brushes. They're just one of my favorite makeup items. Anywho, let me know if you guys enjoyed this video by giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. And I will see all of you beauties in my next video. Bye, guys.